bank the 2 points, but
Yeah.
can you sum up the emotion that you're feeling?
Yeah, I just thought, the start we got off to, it was obviously a really, good start. We completed well. We sort of planned we done what we planned to do, and then all of a sudden, I think we lacked a little bit of patience. Could have been, we had a bit of time off too with the bye, so I don't know whether that sort of, you wouldn't think that would sort of harm our rhythm any. Like I say, I just think we lost patience. But having said that, you've got to give South a lot of credit for coming back. It would have been easy to say this is going to be too hard tonight, but they just kept hanging in there. And, the 10 minutes to go, it looked like they were going to win the game, So, like I say, I think we were really fortunate to get out of it at the end. And, there's some things we'll need to do this week to hopefully be a bit better next week. Just in those moments when, it really matters. I think that's what sort of we struggle with tonight. But as I said, you've got to give South a lot of praise for just hanging in like they did and then coming back, So to get in front after being down, 12-0 after 6-7 minutes, whatever it was, that's a pretty good effort.
Harry, how do you sum up that first half? As Craig said, 2 quick tries. I think you make that half break, throw to Pabs, he puts it down. 8 errors in that first half. Is it frustrating that you know what you guys are capable of, but sometimes when it doesn't click, you can kind of go the other way? Yeah,
it's a bit of a hard one and probably a bit of a trend with our season. I think, looking back on that, would I throw that pass again? Yeah, probably, definitely. It's a genuine opportunity there, and no one between the ball. It's just the execution. So we just got to own those moments when we are going to do that. And I think it's probably been a bit of our trend. We sort of have a good patch and find some points, and sometimes that's not always the best. Sometimes you want to get in a bit of a flow of the game. But we found those points early, and then that little bit of momentum swung, and then they're capitalising, and they've got field position and possession, and like Craig said, a real credit to them. I feel like for a long, long time, South have been that side where no matter how many points you score against them, they've always got a lot more points and a lot of fight in them. So, I think we, as a team, personally and from a player's perspective, we sort of needed to learn on the run and have a challenge like that where we overcome that challenge throughout the game rather than post-game and in a review. And something, that's the positive that we can take out of the game.
Craig, just how important is the win? No more buys left. For the Origin guys to back up, play the big minutes they did. To pick up 2 points, it's round 16 in the context of the season. You probably don't look at it as being important, but with no more buys, just how important it is to create that gap from the top 4 to the chasing pack.
Oh yeah, again, it's they're all important. The wins, and as you said, with no more buys, you'd like a chance at some stage, to give, especially the Origin players, a little bit of time off. If we find we can't really do that in games, we'll give them some time off from training. So like I say, we've had a bye a bit later in the season, but like I say, we're all out of them at the moment. But hopefully, if we can keep winning, a few games, we'll be able to rest them at some stage. But as I said, if we find it's better to rest them from training, we'll do that. But you'd like to be able to have that bye and everyone sort of have a bit of time off. But that's not what we're going to be able to do, and we'll go from there.
What did you make of Sue? Obviously, defensively, they went after him a bit, but for him to come up with that huge play, towering kick, maybe break to sit up, trying to wish up for the try, what did it say about?
Again, he's capable of that. He's only a small kid, but he's very talented, especially with his speed and his footwork. And the other thing he's really good at, again, probably he wouldn't be the most knowledgeable rugby league player in the game because he grew up playing AFL. But that's part of that skill. For that kick he caught, when he led to the try, it was one of the toughest kicks to take all night, and he took it. So I just think he's going to get better and better as time goes on when he learns more about the game and learns more about himself. And but like I say, he's got that pace and that change of direction to be able to, do what he did tonight.
And just Brian Pappenhausen's execution in the big moments. Off that 20-metre restart, kicks the ball out. Not sure everyone was quite on board with what the rule there was.
No,
with the
they-
restart.
no.
But then for him to nail the field after the first one was charged down, are you impressed with how the team handled it compared to, let's say, Magic Round? Like the execution, everyone seemed to know and executed their roles there.
Yeah, well, we like to think that when we make an error as a team, or we don't handle the situation as well as we'd like, we learn from it, so that's the big thing. Yeah, there's always something comes up that, geez, I couldn't see that coming or haven't seen that before, but as long as we learn from it, and obviously, we did tonight, and he's pretty cool, perhaps, he doesn't get flustered about too much, so it's always good to have him in that position.
Did the ref explain to you what happened there? Like it was a tap or it was obviously a scrum. Did you guys know? Did the ref know?
No, we knew the ruling.
Didn't look like it.
But then, because he blew time off, so I just assumed that time would stay off. So I guess you can't assume time in the game, but who's that? There was 4 seconds, so...
We'll learn from that
Yeah,
too.
we'll learn from that. But yeah, there was
too.
4 seconds, so who's to know if we would have got time to pack the scrum, but a few of us sort of cursed at Paps when he kicked it, but that's Paps. He's backing himself, and he's, like Belzer said, he's very cool and calm and collected in those moments, and he doesn't shy away from them, and that's why we love him in our team.
How did you pull up tomorrow, Harry?
Yeah, pulled up sweet. I think it was a big performance, and win or lose, the first thing you want to do is play footy again. You want to get that opportunity, and to repay the faith with your teammates who really help you to get in those arenas week in, week out. They make you the player you are and help get you in those rep teams. So I think all our boys did a really good job tonight.
Yeah, I'd like to back that up. Our guys, they pride themselves on backing up, after Origin. So that sort of probably started when, Cameron and Billy and Cooper and that were playing GI. But, I thought, especially his effort tonight, to play 80 minutes in the position he played after what he did on Wednesday night was, real helpful for the side. And, same with the other ones. X was the only one that didn't back up, but they all done a great job.
Craig, any ribbing from the bloke next to you and that pest Munster about the result?
Say again, sorry?
Any ribbing from your players after Wednesday night's result?
Oh, how much?
Double agent.
Couldn't sleep. Phone kept going off. So I turned off at the end. So anyway, we'll get them next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.